presentation today is divided into two parts. The first part, which is entitled as hospitalizations associated with septicemia or sepsis in intellectually or developmentally disabled individuals served by Ohio DODD, will be presented by me. And the second part, which is about predictors of septicemia or sepsis in DD individuals, will be presented by Abby. So to begin with, why are we interested in septicemia or sepsis in our population? This graph shows the top 15 most frequent diagnosis-related groups associated with hospitalizations in DD population in calendar year 2015. You can see that the diagnosis-related group, septicemia or sepsis with major complications and comorbidities, was the second most common DRG in 2015. And there was another DRG called septicemia or sepsis without major complications and comorbidities, which was one of the top 15 DRGs in 2015. So actually, if you add the number of people that fell under these two DRGs, septicemia or sepsis will be the most frequent diagnosis-related groups assigned to DD individuals who were hospitalized in calendar year 2015. So this DRG was the most frequent DRG in our population. Not only most frequent, but this DRG also was one of the most costly diagnosis-related groups in our population. So we wanted to know more about septicemia and sepsis in our population, so we did this study. So the objective of this study was to quantify the admission rate and cost associated with septicemia or sepsis admissions in DD population. And the second objective was to come up with strategies to reduce incidence of septicemia or sepsis and make the lives of DD individuals better. So what's the difference between septicemia and sepsis? Septicemia is actually the presence of multiplying pathogen or the toxin in our blood, and usually the pathogens are bacteria, while sepsis is the inflammatory response of our body as a result of septicemia. Sepsis always starts as a local infection, for example, pneumonia, infection of wound, or urinary tract infections. And if we go back to the slide here, you can see that a lot of DD individuals had these local infections like pneumonia, respiratory infections, and you can see UTI, kidney and urinary tract infections. Those local infections were very common in our population. So sepsis can lead to septic shock. It can cause tissue damage, organ failure, and finally death. According to CDC, more than 1.5 million people get sepsis each year in the United States. About 250,000 Americans die from sepsis each year, and 1 in 3 patients who die in a hospital have sepsis. So this is an important medical condition in the general population as well, not just our DD population. This slide just shows the signs and symptoms of sepsis. If a person is known to have a local infection, and if you see these symptoms like shortness of breath, high heart rate, confusion or disorientation, sweaty skin, extreme pain or discomfort, shivering, fever or very cold, then the person is likely to have sepsis. So for the purpose of this study, the population that we used was those living in an ICF or on a waiver as of December 2015 in our DODD data warehouse. Then we pulled claims data associated with septicemia or sepsis hospitalization for our population from QDSs, and the claims data was limited to those that incurred in calendar year 2015. We matched the individuals between DODD data warehouse and Medicaid data warehouse using Medicaid number or Social Security number. And then we used diagnosis related group to identify patients with septicemia or sepsis. We also compared the incidence rates of septicemia or sepsis between DD population and Ohio's general Medicaid population. So our study population had a total of 42,384 individuals. And I want to repeat that these individuals are those who lived in an ICF or were on a waiver in calendar as of December 2015. And most of 85% of our population were on waiver and 15% in an ICF. Our population had more males than females. 59% were male and 41% were female. So this slide shows you the admission rate of septicemia or sepsis per 1,000 population, DD versus general. You can see that the admission rate in DD population is about 8 times higher than Ohio's general Medicaid population. And by general Medicaid population, we mean everyone in the Medicaid system except DD individuals. So we excluded DD individuals from that population.